Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call to the order Fairborn City Schools Board of Education regular meeting Thursday, October 1, 2020, here at the Fairborn High School Media Center. We have a distinguished guest tonight. I would like to ask Mr. Keller, our mayor, if you would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, sir.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Philo, would you call the roll?
Mr. McCord.
Here.
Ms. Reister.
Here.
Mr. Browning.
Here.
Mrs. Malad.
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Here. The approved agenda as presented. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Philo?
Ms. Reister.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Mr. Browning.
Yes.
Mrs. Malad.
Yes.
Mr. McCord.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is to approve minutes of the Thursday, September 3rd, 2020 regular meeting and Tuesday, September 15th, 2020 special meeting, and also the Thursday, September 24th, 2020 special meeting. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Jerry. Second?
Katie.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Katie.
Forget about me?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Browning.
Yes.
Mrs. Malad.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. Reister.
Yes.
Mr. McCord.
Yes. Motion carries. Next item up is the board reports and good of the order. Mary, would you like to start us?
Well, it's fall. Sports are in motion, and it's great to see the kids out on the fields and on the courts, playing the sports and having fun. I just want to say thank you to the staff and the teachers and the leadership and administrators for all you've done in this crazy, wild time. I just want you to know that it does not go unnoticed.
Katie?
Hot seat. It's good to see so many faces here tonight. I'm so glad you all came out for me. Just kidding, I know you didn't. We've got an exciting presentation coming up in a little bit, and it's really nice to see so many people here for that. To echo what Mary has said specifically about the band, I'd like everybody to keep an eye out because there's going to be a big fundraiser coming up, as we have not been able to do anything to raise funds for the band kids. So keep an eye out on social media for GoFundMes and that kind of thing are going to be to help out our band kids. So just a little push for that. Thanks.
Mr. Wilson?
Okay. I also would like to thank all of the staff members for all of their hard work and perseverance through these difficult times. This is, it's one day to the next about where you're going to be and what you're going to be doing, it seems. Also a reminder to everybody that the deadline to register to vote is coming up very soon. Early voting will start also very soon. The county has mailed absentee ballot applications to every registered voter, as far as I know. So if you're not comfortable going to the polls on November 3rd, there's opportunity there to send in your absentee ballot, which is a very secure, safe method of being able to cast your ballot. There's also in-person voting starting very soon at the Board of Elections in Xenia. So
October 6th.
important election coming up because we will have a new state representative because the existing representative is term limited, so we'll have a new state representative. Plus, of course, we have our ballot measure for building a new high school. So,
Indeed. All right, Jerry?
Yeah, I want to echo what everybody else said in terms of, thanking the staff the administration, everything. It's been a tough startup of the school year, and it's not just for this district. It kind of goes along with what's been going on in the past few months, but I know that everybody's working very, very hard, trying to make it as best as possible. Related to sports, been able to go to the football games, the soccer, boys and girls soccer, and the one thing that's kind of neat about that, not only our teams are playing well, but it's kind of neat that the kids are able to be kids when they're out on the athletic fields, which, in today's world, I think is huge. So, and then the event that's getting ready to come up, I don't want to take anything away from it, but there's a whole crowd here to recognize the number of people involved with it, and it's a huge event, and I'm glad that we got a turnout for this recognition. Thanks.
Thanks, Jerry. Couple things. You travel down South Maple, you see the demolition going on at our intermediate building. It's amazing when you see that building up and then all of a sudden it's gone. That's a pretty big piece of earth out there, but I know the people down there at Conger Group are working very hard in getting that building ready for us. Another exciting new building here in Fairborn, and we just hope that everybody would consider the vote in November for our new high school. We should be closing on that piece of property out there any time now, and then we just hope to move forward so we can get started on what we hope to be a showpiece as far as a new high school. So those are some of the things. Of course, football, we've all been to the football games, and it's good to see the kids playing, good to see the coaches out there, as well as the band. We most certainly wish our band was with us at every event as far as football, but because of this crazy thing we're into, just it's not going to happen. But we're very proud of our band, and those kids put in just as much time, if not more, than some of our sporting groups do. So if you haven't got a chance to see the band, hopefully here you'll see them tomorrow night.
Friday night.
Yeah, tomorrow night. So come out and get a look at the band and see what our kids are doing. The only other thing I'd like to say is I wish to thank our custodial staff in all of our buildings. They're doing a great job of keeping the place spick and span and clean for us, and they just do a phenomenal job, not only prior to our schools opening, but this year they've got an extra load, so I sure appreciate their efforts. And that's all I have. Next item, recognition of visitors and public comments. Mr. Philo.
Mr. President, I believe I have two people who wish to address the board. First is Lori Venable.
I sent this to the Fairborn Daily Herald, and I just wanted to read it publicly for what's been happening the last couple months. We've all gone through a lot of things. And this is addressed to the school board and the superintendent. But I also know that Mr. Philo.
Can you get closer to the microphone?
Okay. How about now?
That's a little better.
Okay.
Just pull it down to you.
I'm afraid to fall. Okay. I also know Mr. Philo and Pam Gayhart have really worked hard on this situation, so I'll just read the letter. Kudos to the Fairborn School Board and Superintendent. Based on the recent events regarding a high school teacher and a school board member, I wanted to personally reach out and thank the Fairborn School Board and Superintendent for the professional way you handled a very difficult situation. You listened to all sides of the story, gave those that were hurting an avenue to express themselves, and then immediately took action to rectify the situation. By bringing in an independent investigator, you emphasize the seriousness of the actions while also giving the citizens of Fairborn confidence that the situation will be dealt with professionally. You have sent a clear message that actions which hurt, humiliate, intimidate, or does not provide a positive learning environment for Fairborn children will not be tolerated. I'm extremely happy that the teachers and staff have already begun diversity and inclusion training Equally impressive is bringing on board Dr. Krista Arrigo Aguirre from Wright State University, who specializes in race, ethnicity, gender, and social class areas. While I'm sure there are more areas we as a community need to tackle, let's move forward for the sake of Fairborn's children. And what a better way to show our children we believe in them is by voting to build a new Fairborn High School. Go Skyhawks.
Next up is Donna Wilson, representing the city of Fairborn.
Well, I haven't given you an update in a while, but a lot of stuff has been happening in Fairborn, as many of you know. First of all, we opened the Menards last week, I believe it was, and we've been over there, and it's a great asset to our community. Another thing that's going to be coming in is called the Casey's General Store. And that will be located at Xenia Drive and 675. They are a gas station and convenience store, and I've been told that they have excellent pizza. So you have something to look forward to. There will be two places that we're going to put one of the big levee signs at the corner lot of, it's on your property, but corner lot of Central and Hebel for the school levee sign. And it's a big sign. And also the Fire Station 2 on Thomas Boulevard. If you're wondering about all the construction that's been going on, Maple Avenue, if you tried to get over the bridge, right before we came, it's going to be, not Maple Avenue, Dayton Yellow Springs, it's going to be finished hopefully by November 1st and possibly even finished before that. And I know that's been a hard place to get through at some point. As you may have driven down Kaufman Avenue from Dayton Drive, that's a wonderful smooth road now, a big improvement from what it was before, and that's been finished down to the Central that goes up towards 5 Points, up that way. And then Maple Avenue won't be finished, unfortunately, until 2021. But the bike trail, which looks kind of like a sidewalk, but it's really a bike trail as well. On the east side, that's been paved. And then the lane that's on that side also they put a preliminary pavement on there. But then once they get the other side done, then they'll go back and they'll make another more permanent pavement. So things are happening. I know it's been a lot of trouble, but if that's the way it is. So anyway, I'll be happy and happier when it's all finished. And that's all I got. Thank you.
Is there anybody else that wishes to address the board? That concludes public comments, Mr. President.
Thank you, Kevin. Next, we have school district presentations. Mr. Lawley?
Third time's a charm. Good evening, everyone. It is indeed a great night to be a Skyhawk. It's a great night to be a member of this Fairborn community. The Fairborn Board of Education would like to recognize a number of people tonight concerning a serious situation that took place on the afternoon of September the 17th out at our high school soccer stadium, and I am ecstatic to report that has had a very, very happy outcome. Now here tonight, we do have some people I'd want to recognize, but I hope I don't miss some of you. I know some city officials walked in, but here tonight we have Chief Reichert from the Fairborn Fire Department, Assistant Chief Williams, I think Jamie Hensley from Rotary, and Mayor Keller, and as I said, along with some city officials that are here tonight. I'm going to give you just a short snippet of what took place, and then the student's father, Mr. Hart, is going to come up and give us a very detailed sequence of events that happened. And when he is finished, we would like to recognize a few students and our trainers. Just briefly, the Fairborn High School baseball team, they were doing their fall conditioning when baseball player Bennett Hart collapsed into full cardiac arrest. Due to the quick reaction of some of our student athletes, Bailey Snap and Andrew Yeary, who is here tonight, I believe. I saw them come in. They ran to get the trainers who were in the high school. Our baseball coach, Bronson Marlette, and Bronson is here, immediately communicated by cell phone to the trainers in the high school, and at the same time went and retrieved our AED equipment that we have in various places throughout our school facilities. And AED equipment is what shocks the heart back into beating. Our trainers were on the scene very quickly. Our trainers, J.C. Combs and T.J. Tillman, who are assigned to us from Kettering Health Network, immediately performed CPR along with the using the AED equipment to shock Bennett's heart. During this time, the Fairborn medics arrived and took over this very serious situation. Bennett was taken to Children's Hospital in Dayton, where he was later transferred to Children's in Cincinnati, where he made a miraculous recovery. And as I said, I'm ecstatic to say that Bennett is here with us tonight. Without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Mr. Hart, who would like to address our citizens of Fairborn.
I don't know that there'll be, hello, my name is Jim Hart, so wanted to come out and say thank you to everybody. Going to try to get through this the best I can. Mr. Lawley covered the majority of it. I just wanted to go and hit some of the details in Bennett's past and of where things kind of led, and then a little bit of what the staff was able to do, which was pretty much miraculous when you look at percentages and how things work out. Bennett has a genetic heart disease that's pretty much, in the simplest terms, unknown. It's not something that doctors have seen before, and so it's basically an educated guess on how to treat him. Because of that, there's not a case study of 5,000 or 10,000 people that have the same issues that he has that they can say, okay, this medication or this piece of equipment or something's going to help him. It's all a guessing game, and so that's led us to where we were. For him to still be allowed to play baseball or attempt to play baseball. And in that day, as he was coming down the stairs, his heart rate initially got up close to a rate of 300, which is something that is very fast. Your heart doesn't beat efficiently at that point. And then that progressed into what would be that full cardiac arrest, where he went into ventricular fibrillation. He does have an internal defibrillator that shocked him 6 times. And then At that point, the internal defibrillator kind of, it was not able to read the next rhythm that he would convert it into after it shocked him. Thankfully, with the quick action of Coach Marlette, the trainers, the ball players, of opening up the pathway for medics to get there, getting the AED on him, the AED recognized the rhythm that he was in and shocked him 2 more times. So he received a total of 8 shocks that day before he was able to get to Dayton Children's with that. He also, in that effort, because they were running stadium stairs, fell down 6 stairs. So there was the added trauma. Also, due to his history, he's on blood thinners, and so that's another issue with falls. Blood thinners make things even more adventurous and can cause problems. And so he was, thankfully, no head trauma, no bleeds, anything like that when we found out. So that's the basic, the backstory and kind of what happened there. What I really wanted to come up and thank those that were involved, the quick actions of Coach Marlette, the trainers and the students, the ball players that day, in association with the Fairborn Fire Department that showed up, saved my son's life. The only reason he's in the back of the room today is because of what they did. Outside of the hospital, cardiac arrest, depending on what study you want to follow, has about a 0.8 to an 8% survival rating where you actually have a good outcome and come out of, right? So in some studies, it's less than 1% opportunity that if you go into cardiac arrest outside of the hospital, that you're going to make it out of the hospital and live a normal life. And so at this point, there's not enough talking, not enough gratitude to say thank you for what was done that day, because my son is standing in the back of the room. So, thank you, everybody.
If I could have a little help up here to hand these certificates and plaques out. If Bailey Snap, Andrew Urey, Bronson Marlette, J.C. Combs, and J.T. Tillman, if you would come forward. Yeah, you just go ahead and read them. They should be on there. Go ahead. Who you got? TJ, trainer. Way to go. Good job. J.C. Combs. Bailey Snap. And Andrew Urey. There you go, Andrew. And Coach Bronson Marlette. And this was the Fairborn family pulling together in a very difficult time that had a tremendous and happy outcome. Great to see you here. Hold right here. Oh, okay. Hey, Chief Reichert, come on up. Come on.
Party's not over.
Yeah.
Good evening. Again, my name is, let me take this thing off for a minute. My name is David. I'm Fire Chief of the City of Fairborn Fire, but we'd also like to take the opportunity to recognize the individuals that had again, like Jim was saying, this is when things go right. This is when plans come into place, equipment is around when it's needed, and it's executed the way it needs to be. That's when everyone's working together and had a very positive outcome, along with, again, for the trainers and the coaches. Again, my staff, they wish they could be here tonight, but weren't able to make it, but I have talked with them, and they have said absolutely it was the actions of the individuals and the trainers and the students that were there that at that time that truly had the positive income or outcome of what our guys got to deal with when they got there. So again, we have something small here that I go ahead and bring up J.C. Combs. All right, I'll just kind of read what it says, and I'll read it once, but it's for demonstration of selfless courage and professionalism by assisting with the care of a citizen in need, thus demonstrating your dedication and commitment to the Fairborn community and its residents. So again, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Excellent work. I'm a hugger. That's difficult. All right. All right, and we have T.J. Tillman. Excellent job. And we have Bronson Marley, coach. Andrew Yuri. And then Bailey is not here, correct? Okay, all right. Well, we'll hold on. Okay, perfect. Again, this is wonderful. It's an awesome event to be able to come out to. Again, this is when teamwork works, plans come together, what the Fairborn School District has done with AEDs and everyone working together to have an amazing outcome. So thank you very much. All right, good job, man.
I think we have another presentation from Jamie Hensley.
So I'm Jamie Hensley. I am with the Fairborn Rotary Club, but today I'm with Jamie's Tire and Service. We, about a year ago, started a thing in town called Fairborn Citizen of the Week, Jamie's Tire Citizen of the Week. We have been aggressively looking for folks around the community, people doing good things, nominated by other community members. We've been loving on them by putting them on Facebook, you know, in the paper, giving them some food, car washes, different things and oil changes. And recently, I had a friend call me and said, you know what happened up at the high school? And I said, no. And so she informed me as to what happened. And I said, how many people were involved? And she said 5. And I said, wow, you know, a coach, 2 trainers, you know, 2 students reaching out for another Fairborn student. I mean, that's what Fairborn's about. And I said, of course, you know, we're going to be there to honor these folks and make them our Citizen of the Week this next coming week. So I'm here to present. I kind of gulped because I have an oil change for each of you all. And a car wash from Flying Aces Car Wash, very generous. $25 worth of car washes for each of you guys, and a certificate recognizing what you did. So on behalf of the Fairborn Rotary Club, Jamie's Tire and Service, the community, thanks for what you did, saving this boy's life.
Two-minute limit. You ask an elected official if they want to speak with a captive audience, what are they going to say, you know? But no, this is truly fantastic. Another example of the wonderful community that we live in, the people that are here. Thank you for the invitation to be part of this evening. Thank you, all the folks involved. Our fire EMS folks are fabulous, as you already know. So these are things that keep us together as a community, that make us stronger, that make us proud of our community. So thanks again for allowing me to be part of this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, let's go ahead and get our pictures up front with everybody.
You got it front and center.
Yep.
Come on.
Mayor, why don't you join us?
Kevin, I don't have, are you next? Okay. Our next presentation will be from our treasurer, Mr. Kevin Philo.
We'll give you guys the opportunity, if you were just here for that event, you can go ahead and exit. If not, you're gonna have to listen to the 5-year forecast and all the finances. We'll give you 30 seconds if you wanna head out.
Run, run.
You really know how to do a sales job.
Thank you for coming out.
Thank you all.
I'm standing up.
I don't like using the microphone, but Emily yells at me if I don't, so I'll use the microphone. First is I'm pleased to present to the Fairborn Schools the announcement that the Fairborn Schools has been awarded 2 national financial awards for the 2nd year in a row from the Government Finance Officers Association and the Association of School Business Officials International. These are 2 prestigious awards. This is the 2nd year in a row. Would like to thank my staff, the Treasurer's Office that does all the work. They're audited and meet those high standards. So thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Now the fun part, the 5-year forecast in terms of talking about the where the district's at. And it gives me really good pleasure to say that this is the 3rd year in a row that I can talk about the value that the Fairborn schools are. And we'll get into that a little bit later. Tonight you'll vote on the 5-year forecast. The 5-year forecast is mandated by state law to be done twice a year, updated in the spring, and then a new one done in November, or by November. I'm pleased to present that the Fairborn schools are in a strong financial position. They've continued to be and projected out to be for the next 5 years. But as with any financial forecast, 5 years out is pure speculation. They're my best guess, is I can best tell you what I think will happen in the next 12 to 18 months. But it's dependent so much on negotiations, state funding, et cetera. So with that, Gwen? The first years in terms of the 19 and the 20 are in yellow. Those project the old years that you can look at for comparison. Fiscal year 21 is there in red. And then 5 years out shows where we would be. I just want to point out that we've shown slightly that real estate taxes will go down for this year, probably based upon the pandemic. What we've seen in the fall collections is a slight decrease. We've also seen a slight decrease in the income tax, and so that's reflected in there. The state foundation also includes the $800,000 cuts that were done last year and this year. Going out in the future, roughly small percentage increases. Included in there, though, is a renewal levy that will be on the ballot in the calendar year 2021, and then also is a small 3 mil levy projected out in 2023. That's sort of a placeholder in terms of we'll see what happens the next 2 years to determine the size of that millage and what is needed and necessary. But that's sort of right now as a placeholder. You'll see, looking at this, that our cash balances are projected to go down. As Andy Wilson would attest, he's never seen a 5-year forecast where they didn't significantly go down, but they all sort of straighten out after it happens. There's a worst-case scenario plugged in here for health insurance increases. Part of it is pure speculation. But the good part is it's still positive. Most districts in the state of Ohio would not show a positive after 5 years, simply because of the way schools are funded. Our projected revenues for fiscal year 21 show about $51.5 million. It's a good split between local and state of Ohio, so it's balanced. It's not totally dependent on one source or the other. Equally good is that the local has the split of the income tax with the property tax, so that gives us also, if you're looking at investments, it's good to have eggs in different baskets, and so that's a very positive thing. So it's a very good split. Total revenues for general fund, 51 million. Before we go to the next slide, you will see in here other local receipts. This 9.2% is higher than previous years and will be higher than the next year's. That includes the $2.5 million that was donated from our anonymous donor for the land that we'll be purchasing. So I'll talk a little bit about that later, but that money is already in the bank waiting to buy that property. Go ahead. Projected fiscal year 2021 expenditures are projected to be a little over 52 million. So now we're at the top of the roller coaster, and we'll start to go down a little bit, which is normal. You'll build up cash, spend down cash, and then build it back up again. The parts in blue, dark blue is salaries and wages at about 50%. Our fringe benefits at about 20%. Shows roughly 70% of our money is spent on people, and we're a people business. We don't make tables, we educate students, and that takes teachers, custodians, etc. So we're a person-heavy business. If you look at the parts in red, that's broke out with tuition for other districts and other purchase services. We do have a lot of money that goes out to charter schools and other schools, so we break that out separately. It's a big portion. And then the other is we'll have supplies, capital outlay, etc. Capital outlay is also artificially inflated this year for that $2.5 million that we will spend on the property. I'll let you guys read that on your own. Each of the board members have this in front of them. Flip to the next one. This is our ending cash balances, and so we're projected that we'll have peaked last year in 2020, about 3 months ago, and it will slightly decrease in 2021, and then a little bit more and a little bit more over the next years. But our cash is still in a very healthy financial position, as most districts would be down here at this point in time. Also, we have the unknown factor. We have state and federal monies for the COVID, which could cover some of the expenditures that we'd normally spend out of general fund. So we may be more of a break-even position by the end of this year, but that's totally unknown. This is a little interesting in terms of our total receipts and expenses. This is the year that our expenses will exceed our revenues. And then continue on. You'll see a sharp spike here because we projected the $2.5 million donation and the expenditures artificially make that go a little bit higher incline, and then you'll see that sort of level off. But as you can tell, is for most of the time, our revenues will always stay flat until we pass a new levy or until something significant happens. So we talk about property values and property taxes, it's usually like a step, that when you pass a levy, you'll step up. Over the time, though, the expenses will rise simply because of inflation and salary increases. This is where we talk about value. This is one of the slides that I think that I'm most proud of for 3 years in a row, is this is our per pupil expenditures for fiscal year 19. Fairborn is down in the blue. Fiscal year 19, we spent $10,343 per pupil. And when I talk to students in the classroom, I tell them that's important. That's what the community invests in you, is $10,000 a year. But we also do it at a rate less than other districts. If you look at Cedar Cliff or Huber Heights or Bellbrook, or even the Greene County average, is we're significantly below the Greene County average. We're significantly below the group average here in yellow. And then the statewide, of the 612 districts in the state of Ohio, is we're still significantly under that. When we talk about value, it's not just about how much it costs, though, it's what the return is. And last spring, I overlapped a a graph that showed where our student achievement was, our test scores. And a lot of these districts is we are outperforming. So for the community, there's the value, is you're getting above average education at a lower than average price. In terms of direct comparison, I've done this for the last 2 years as well, just to compare what we spend per pupil versus Troutwood and versus Huber Heights. Troutwood spends about 50% more than us per student, but their average income and their median income is lower. Huber Heights spends 7% more than us. Their average and median income is a little bit higher, but we also outperformed Huber Heights this year. So anybody in Huber Heights, I'm sorry if I offended you, but. And then this rate I have not updated for the last year because the Fairborn tax rate hasn't changed. Some of the other ones have went up, but in terms of we talk about value, we have a very, very low tax rate currently, and even if this levy passes in November, we'll still be below 70 mils. So just give an indication. If you look at Huber Heights, you look at Kettering, you look at Northmont, and some of the districts that we compete with. So just for informational purposes only, each district has its own differences. And so to say what Troutwood needs or what City of Dayton needs to spend per pupil, it's okay to compare sometimes, but there's different factors. So with that, I will conclude unless there's any questions. One of your fellow board members did find in the 5-year forecast in the notes on page 2 that the ending cash balance for fiscal year 2020 should have been 31 million, not 1 million. So thank you, Mr. Wilson. Any questions? Thank you. Yes. This will be on the video if the board wants to see it. I've made these presentations at Rotary and other places, but if anybody wants us to speak, I'm more than happy to speak to any group about anything about the finances of the Fairborn schools. In terms of, we're an open book, this is your community, this is your money. We can be accountable for every dime and we'll answer any questions. So yes, I mean in terms of, it's all public information, and the source of all, a lot of this is from the Department of Education. So yes, we could do that, yes. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you very much. Moving along to facilities update, New Fairborn High School information. Mr. Patrick, along with our good friends at SH&P. Michael?
Well, good evening. A very exciting time. So many things going on, obviously, with the district. And I just want to extend, let you know our gratitude to be part of that process, a part of your community, a part of the district. It's just that next step in the process is where we're at, right? I mean, this is the continuing to have fun phase. As we develop with you in your community, your vision, we've gone through educational visioning, right? We've done the site surveys. We've done the preliminary geotechnical stuff. So we've got a lot of things going to keep that moving stride go. And what you have in front of you here is what they call a program of requirements. This is the basic distilled down version. I would call it the cheater's version, if you will. There's a more complicated, multi-page piece to it, but we're making progress. And what we're trying to figure out and work with you on are the number of students that we're going to be anticipating, as well as the types of spaces. And just as Kevin does his forecasting, we are forecasting and projecting what that future would be like as well. So as an example, the state has come back and they said the co-funded students is 946. Well, that's less than what you have now. So we are future projecting more students than that to make sure that you have the right amount of spaces, the flexible spaces to allow that growth and stuff to happen. So right now we're at 1,096 students over that 946, okay? So that's 150 more. So that's a good chunk. And what I will tell you, from my perspective, Fairborn's doing it right. We work with a lot of school districts, and they don't have the ability to do what you're doing. So you are setting up your community for success, okay? From a co-funded square footage standpoint, the state will co-fund 153,835, okay? Right now, and again, this is, I want to also point out, this is not a bullseye yet. It's always a moving target, right? We're continuing to refine this idea as we get newer information. This is an ongoing thing. So I don't want you to look at this and say, we're done. I wish I was, but so it's an ongoing thing. So right now, above the 153,000 that the state will co-fund, we're at 197,787. That's quite a bit of extra square footage, but you're getting a lot for it. You're getting the extra academic spaces. You're going to get a beautiful 1,000 square foot or 1,000 seat auditorium and a 2,000 seat arena. And that is above the 1,300 seats that the state will co-fund. With regard to the academic core, 30 classrooms, 10 science classrooms, and 12 small group rooms. Now, small group rooms, those are smaller spaces, no pun intended, roughly about 120 square feet. They're meant for flexible activities, whether it's one-on-one tutoring or small group activities. It's meant to give that sort of different level of space that allows other activities to occur outside that classroom. And typically, they're not only associated with those classrooms, but they're also associated with what they call the extended learning areas. So similar to what you have at the primary school, okay? Special education, 7 classrooms there. From an administrative standpoint, one of the big highlights are the number of offices. We've gone through multiple times making sure that we got everybody accounted for. And what I will say is even as we move forward into design and get to like a floor plan stage, what we do is get the general building layout there, and then we work with you in a work session, and we'll start to actually put names to spaces. That's sort of our triple check, you know, making sure before we really get further down the line that we have all those spaces accounted for. The media center, it won't be, right now it's anticipated that it'll be distributed just like the primary throughout and be used as your extended learning areas. 3 art classrooms. As an architect, I'd say you probably need 10 more of those, but 3 will do. 1 instrumental music room, 1 vocal room. The really cool tech ed stuff, 1 engineering classroom, 1 biomed, 1 ROTC classroom. Then you have the 3 business classrooms on top of that, the 1 life skills, and then when I say 1 arena, I mean that. We did have the opportunity last Friday. That's right, last Friday. Gosh, it's going fast. To look at some other examples throughout. So I think we have a wonderful opportunity here to create that arena. And I'm purposely using that word outside of gymnasium because it has a different meaning to it. 1 auxiliary gymnasium, 1 weight room, 1 wrestling room, which is more than what I had in high school. We were stuck behind the bleachers, so we didn't even get a room. Then, of course, the cafeteria and commons. And we purposely, I think the POR by the state says cafeteria. We're calling it cafeteria commons because we're always trying to utilize that space throughout the day and not just for kids in there eating. So using it as a common space, similar to, again, what you have at the primary. And, of course, You get one kitchen and that's it. Mr. Patrick?
One of the things that's not part of that POR process is, you want it back?
Yeah. I goofed even though he told me so. There is, as part of what they call locally funded initiative, LFI, we will be planning for a 5,000-seat stadium for football, which will also include restrooms and concessions facilities as well. So we also had a chance to look at some other sports fields throughout the area. Middletown, I thought was kind of interesting. It had 10,000 seats. So 5,000 is a lot. I didn't, 10,000, Lord. But you're going to have a beautiful stadium. You got the dollars set up right for it, and it's really going to be special. And again, I can't thank you enough for the opportunity. I love doing this, if you can't tell. So thank you.
And one of the important parts, too, is the location. And Mike could tell you, he's built a lot of schools over the years. And the location for the school to help the community, the visual aspect of it, you drive down 675 and you see that, that's going to be a huge selling point for the rest of the community. So, from that, Mike could tell you it's one of the best spots he's ever built a school on. So that's pretty exciting. So with everything that we've gone through over the last several months of planning and so forth, I think we're heading in the right direction. And as Mike said, it's kind of like Kevin's 5-year forecast. What we're presenting to you is as of today at 8 o'clock or whatever time it is. Tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock, it may change a little bit. But we wanted to get out to the public so that everyone would know what that school is going to entail and what it's going to have in it. And I mean, it's going to be top to notch, first class, 9 through 12, athletic complexes, performing arts centers, and everything we can do to basically make sure that these kids get what they need. So that's all kind of the exciting piece of it. I'm sure Mike will take any questions. I do want to just go on as far as the primary school goes. Primary school, we're working on the punch list, going through and trying to finalize all the things that might have been hiccups or doors not closing all the way or speakers not working, so we're still going through the punch list. One of the biggest things we've got to accomplish yet is probably the temporary heating in that building. With the pipes that leaked over the summer, we're still coming to a close on that process. We have a meeting tomorrow morning. We should be able to hopefully finish that, right, Mr. Parkinson? And then next week, there's an investigation into the pipes themselves. There'll be a room place in Dayton. We'll go look at the pipes, and both construction people, insurance people, us, everybody will be there. They kind of look at the pipes and try to make a determination of what caused the leaks. The intermediate, as I think Pat had said earlier, lots of demolition going on, getting that lot ready to basically start to move some dirt, push things around, and get ready for a beautiful 5-4-3 building. So it'll be a beautiful building, and that will set us off. And students will move in to that building in August of 2022. And the one thing I want to say before we take questions is that the high school that's in front of you, the plan is to move into that building August of 2023. So 1 year after the fact that we would move into an intermediate building, we'll move into a brand new high school. And that would be this year's freshmen. This year's freshmen could possibly be seniors in a brand new building. And that's pretty exciting. So we'll take your questions.
Just in education, what does state pay for as far as football fields, fitness?
Yeah, for football fields, unfortunately, no. The state does co-fund the building itself. So we talk about, words on here that are called, it says LFI, so that's a locally funded initiative. Okay. So as an example, they will not co-fund an auditorium. Okay, so we know that that's important to the community and the district, so we are making sure that we plan for that. With the arena, they'll co-fund a gymnasium, but they'll only co-fund up to 1,300 seats. And we know that we want to be 2,000 seats, so we got to make sure that that's planned for. With regard to number of students, so it's a very kind of neat, cool formula that the state uses on how they calculate students and square footage. So with when they say co-funded students, so they do enrollment projections, and what they're saying is you're going to be lower than that. And so we're saying, nah, I think we're going to be over here a little bit more. So with that 946 students, 153,000 is what's associated with that. So we're projecting more students than they are, so we need more square footage. So anything above that is on our dime, if you will.
Do they fund different areas at different percentages? Like the co-funded students, okay, so maybe they fund that area at 50% and then the gym at.
No, it's all, yeah, it's just all across the board, yeah.
There's a formula. If you have 1,000 students, maybe they give you 150 square feet per student. It's just an example.
Sorry for
No,
you're fine.
Glad you're asking.
Those are really good questions.
Yeah.
Or a good way of thinking about what gets funded is anything that directly relates to education. So, like, not gonna pay for you to have a football team, but we'll pay for you to have gym class. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I work for the government.
Yeah, so all good questions, so feel free to ask them. And, you know, if you're asking them now, I'm sure there's 10 other people have the same question, so
Right.
we'd much rather answer them so everybody else can watch this, and, you know, maybe we can answer their questions.
I mean, if I have them, somebody else is having them. So.
Most certainly.
I think we're working on some of that, with Pam and so forth, with community outreach programs and stuff like that, so.
I got her on speed.
Do we still have the open house on the plan for?
Yeah, we have 2 open houses. We have 2 open houses scheduled for the families of the kids that attend the primary, and I believe both of those are next week. The following week, I think the 12th, Pam, and the 15th, we are opening it to the community, I believe from 4 to 7. So if you want to come to the building in the new primary and walk around and see it, that'd be a perfect opportunity for you to do that. So there'll be stuff released on social media, the school's website, and everything else. But we want to get as many people through that building as possible. Unfortunately, with the way the situation is with COVID, you know, even when the first kindergartners got off the bus, they hadn't been in that building yet. And, you know, this is just kind of a weird situation, but it's what we live in right now. But we hope that the 12th and the 15th you'll be able to attend. And if you can't, if you want to get through it, call me. I'll get you through it. I know somebody.
You're too easy of a crowd.
Any more questions?
Do we have a comparison of what we have now and, like,
Yeah.
really
So that's part of what you see here. As we were going through on our meetings, we were going through and understanding what you have now and understanding what the state was co-funding and understanding what you were going to need, not only the day it opens, but also in the future.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate both of you. I just wanted to send out some kudos here to SH&P. This firm has worked and had meetings with us for many, many hours for the primary and the intermediate. And what a great firm this is. They kind of lead us through things that we have to do prior to getting where we want to be. But Mike, of course, the architect, he listens to us. We want to build what Fairborn wants. And Mike listens to us, all of our hopes and our dreams. And we're not that far. If the people will help us pass this levy, we're not that far from getting underway with what we think is going to be just an outstanding high school for our students. And then I think it's worth saying that once that is done, the state will come back with a large portion of money that we could then build our junior high on the same 86 acres that we have or that we soon will have. So it's not just the high school, it's the high school and the junior high, and we're we're not gonna stop until we get both of those projects done. But Mike, thank you for being here. Thanks to SH&P. Sure.
Have you talked to the students to see maybe what they might like to see?
We did last spring.
Yep.
COVID took place. We interviewed anywhere from fifth grade students all the way up through high school. And brought them in for different meetings, different age groups, and actually the kids were, yeah, actually, and you know, their perception is a lot different than us as adults.
Right.
And, you know, they, middle school students wouldn't think that maybe green spaces would be as important to them, but they were. They spoke up, and they wanted a place to be able to go outside and so forth. So it was kind of interesting.
Wasn't that covered in the paper stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's a feature on it.
Right.
And again, that's another, it's another thing SH&P does. They know what they're doing. They know it's a community project. They get community people involved as well, students, seniors, everybody. So they're doing a great job for us, and we appreciate them. Thank you both. Good report. Next item, under budget and finance, you'll see 5 items there. The approving of the 5-year forecast, spending plan for 2021, approve the attached permanent appropriations for 2021, and the other 2 items there. And it is recommended by the treasurer to lower the band participation fees by 50% from $150 to $75 for the 2020-21 school year. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Jerry.
Second?
Thanks, Andy. Mr. Philo, call the roll, please.
Mr. Browning,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mrs. Malad,
Yes.
Ms. Reister,
Yes.
Mr. McCord.
Yes. Motion carries. Item number 10, under administrative reports and superintendent's recommendations, we have a list,
A long list.
a
A
long
list
list.
and a list through page 9.
Yep. We have in there coaches supplementaries, extra service supplementals,
The retirement. Retirement on page
athletic,
2.
yeah, the retirements. If anybody would like to pull out retirements, we can do that as well for recognition.
Specifically, recognize Rebecca
Right.
Stone, math teacher at Baker Middle School for 20 years in education, 19 of those with Fairborn City Schools. And then on page 8, we have Kevin Bailey, mechanic, Ray Lieber, and Denise Patrick. Denise is taking a retirement.
Okay. With all of that said and done, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mary. Second? Katie, thanks so much. Mr. Philo, roll call, please.
Ms. Reister,
Yes.
Mrs. Malad,
Yes.
Mr. Browning,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. McCord.
Yes. Motion carries. Next item under gifts and donation. It's a short one, Katie. We're gonna let the rookie do it. Well, not a rookie, but,
Experienced rookie.
yeah, would you please, give us our gifts and donations?
Skip anything here? Okay.
No.
All right. The gifts and donations. The Fairborn City Schools Board of Education would like to gratefully acknowledge Be Hope Church, Food for the Homeless Liaison, and Fire Insert Hygiene Bags for the Homeless Liaison. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
The board will now move into a work session, followed by an executive session. It's anticipated that after the executive session, they may have another work session and adjourn, but no further action items are anticipated by the Board of Education. We'll take a quick 5-minute break, and then we'll have the work session